Off supports are very commonly misunderstood when it comes to the different roles in Overwatch, since they're not their own category of heroes, but a subcategory of an already existing support role. If you don't know what an off support is, they're basically supports that don't focus healing primarily, having it as a thing that they can do rather than they have to do. For example, Baptiste can heal, but a lot of his value comes out of his ult, which he charges faster if he's primarily dealing damage instead of healing. His gun also does a fair amount of damage, making it much more beneficial for him as a hero to find the enemies that are low on health and secure the kills. But in the case of Zenyatta, he's basically a DPS disguised as a support. Yes, he can heal, but it's much less than other supports. Harmony Orb heals barely anything, so the only time he really does any good healing is in his ult. But where he falls flat at healing, he excels at dealing damage and absolutely steamrolling his enemies. And I'm going to tell you how you can do exactly that in this video. But first, I'm going to ask you to subscribe and leave a like on this video, as I want to continue making Overwatch 2 related content that's not only entertaining, but educational too. My first piece of advice for learning Zenyatta is learn your kit and your range. Now this seems very obvious, as if you're learning a new character, you need to know what they're capable of. But a lot of new players just go, oh, he seems good, let's try him, and then end up feeding because they don't know how to use his kit properly. Here's a basic rundown of what you should be doing with Zenyatta. Play to your range, as it's the best feature of the hero. If you play behind your team, keeping space between yourself and the enemy, you'll find yourself getting a lot more kills and a lot less deaths because you're practically untouchable. Your Discord orbs have around a 40-meter range fall off, so you can play at quite a distance from your enemies while stealing the most damage that you're capable of. At this range, use your volley attack instead of your single shots because it deals a lot more damage per second than these single shots, and you're more likely to land at least a single shot out of all of your balls, rather than consistently missing single shots. My second piece of advice for learning Zenyatta is one that I talk about in pretty much all of these guides. Can you guess what it is? That's right, it's creating the off angle. Making off angles is a very important thing for every hero to do, but especially Zenyatta because of his insane TTK. Since you don't have to stay really close to your other teammates to heal them, you can go and create some off angles with your flurry shot and Discord orb, melting the enemies that are fighting your teammates from the side or the flank. Like I've said before in my past guides, people can't focus on two things at once, so they'll start panicking and lower their guard one way or another. Hopefully they'll start trying to focus you so the rest of your team can absolutely delete their health bar whilst they're busy fighting with a robo-monk. My third piece of advice for learning Zenyatta is knowing the extent of your ult, Transcendence, and when to use it, because a lot of the new players tend to panic when they see their team dying and decide to pop it then, which is reasonable. That's definitely one way to use it and find value out of it. If your teammates stay alive when you ult, you've successfully done your job as a support, but you can find the most value from this ult by using it to counter other enemy ults. For example, if your team gets sucked into Zarya's ult and they decide to Kitsune Rush or use dragons into it to secure an easy team kill, you can just completely counter it with Transcendence because of how insane the rate of healing is inside of it. Alternatively, you can use your ult with some of your teammates' ults to help them secure kills. For example, use your ult with Ramattra's and you'll see your Ramatra be practically unstoppable, unless he gets slept by an Ana, but that's something that you can't really prevent. My fourth piece of advice is something that I've touched on in previous guides again, and that's simply change your reticle, because the fact of the matter is the basic Zenyatta reticle that you get isn't that precise. Personally, I like to use a smaller cross or a dot because I can line the enemy's heads up with that cross or dot very easily, and it allows me to be much more accurate. But you can just play around with all of the different settings and find something that you like. A small dot or a cross is something I highly advise though. My fifth and final piece of advice for learning Zenyatta is going to sound rude, but true, and that's ignore your teammates. Obviously don't forget to heal them because that's a core part of your character. You're a support at the end of the day, so you should be helping your team to the best of your ability. But if your teammates start whining about you not healing enough, then they're stupid, in all honesty. How are you meant to heal more as Zenyatta? You can only heal so much because you don't have anything outside of your ult and Harmony Orb that can heal. You're there to make sure that your team secures kills by doing more damage, not staying alive for longer. That's for your other support to handle. I know it seems harsh and kind of unfair on the other support player, but they fully understand. Don't worry about it. They know it isn't anything personal. But that just about does it for my guide to playing Zenyatta. He's quite a hard character to get into and fully understand because of how simple but complex his kit is at the same time. Yes, you're a support and you should be healing your team, but your main job is to help damage the enemy's unsecure kills with your teammates by using your Discord orb and your own flurry of shots. If you were to look up off support in the dictionary, you see Zenyatta because of how much he isn't a support at the same time as being classed as a support because he has healing abilities. It's like when you listen to the radio and they're like, we're gonna play a rock song now for all the rockers listening, and then they play Radioactive by Imagine Dragons because they class it as rock because it has a guitar and drums in it. Like, they tried, I guess. The only difference between Imagine Dragons and Zenyatta is that Zenyatta is actually good. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Once again, I'm going to ask you to like the video, as it lets me know that you find these videos not only to be helpful, but entertaining. Let me know if you have any requests for other heroes in the comments below, and subscribe so you don't miss that guide when it comes out. There are some heroes that I probably won't be able to make a guide on, simply because I don't play them enough, but there are many more heroes on the list that I can make guides on than I can't make guides on. Finally, have a nice day or night if you're watching this at night, and make sure to check out my other videos. Not only will I appreciate it, but you might too. Also, just a quick update before this video ends, I'm looking to change my schedule to every Monday and Thursday instead of just Mondays, because it'll up the engagement and push out my videos more, so more people see it and get the help that they need. So it basically means more numbers for me and more content for you. But yeah, that's the end of this video. I'm gonna test out this new upload schedule and hopefully it goes well, and hopefully you enjoy it too. Have a nice day, and I'll see you in another.